Hola Marina, ¿cómo estás hoy?
Hola, bien, fenomenal. ¿Tú qué tal?
Oh, estoy estupendo. O estoy estupendamente. ¿Cómo se
También
dice?
estoy estupendamente bien.
Estoy estupendamente bien. I'm super happy. It's a beautiful day here in Madrid and we're teaching you more real Spanish. Welcome back to I Love Real Spanish. Remember, you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all sorts of podcast places if you prefer this as audio. Okay, so what do we do here, Marina? What do we teach? What are we
Yes.
teaching people?
We teach the real Spanish you'll never find in a textbook or an app. So you can enjoy real life, incredible experiences.
Yeah, we've got a lovely story coming up shortly from one of our listeners or viewers about a wonderful experience with real Spanish. So that's coming up. Today, we've also got a top fluency tip, how to get fluent much, faster. This is all about getting fluent faster and enjoying it. So we've got a great tip for that. And we're going to end with some very good real Spanish phrases for you to go and use right now. Okay?
Okay.
¿Estamos?
Estamos.
Ready, but first we're going to start with who, Marina? Our real Spanish.
Our real Spanish superstars. We want to share with you what other students are doing and experiencing
Out in the world.
out in the world. And they are a great inspiration for all of us, as you all are in a way.
You're all real Spanish superstars. If you're watching this, you're a real Spanish superstar. But we got two we wanted to mention today,
Yes.
especially. First of all, Marina.
We have Sally Ann who says, "Hi guys, I was introduced to Notes in Spanish by another A-level student whose teacher uses your worksheet and YouTube videos in class. It was a real turning point for me, and yes, when I said me viene como anillo al dedo in Tenerife to our waiter, he laughed and said, 'Where did you learn that?' Excellent stuff and thank you."
Okay, I love these stories. If you've got a story like this, please let us know in the comments or write to us. It's wonderful. So Sally Ann's, I guess, in a bar or a restaurant, and the waiter must have offered her something tasty or something nice to drink. And she said,
Me viene como anillo al dedo.
yeah, it's just what I need, or that's just what I need. And the waiter was so impressed by this, this foreign person coming out with the kind of Spanish that Marina's going to come out with, that Sally Ann learned with us, that he just laughed in delight because he'd probably never heard someone from a different country use something so authentic. So I love these stories. Thank you, Sally Ann. It just shows this is why we teach real Spanish, so that you connect more when you're out and about. Right, next.
We have Janet as well, who says, "Tengo una nueva frase que es graciosa y muy divertida."
Okay, so one sec. Remember in the last episode we said, share with us the words and phrases that you love in Spanish.
Exactly.
So Janet wrote to us about one that's graciosa y divertida, funny and fun.
Que es espantosamente espantoso. Horribly horrible. Cuando la usé con mi amigo esta mañana mientras estábamos corriendo, él me dijo, ¿te refieres a mí? Y se empezó a reír.
Okay, so quick translation. I've got una nueva frase que es graciosa y muy divertida. I've got a new phrase which is funny and amusing. And it is...
Espantosamente espantoso.
Try and say that quickly. Espantosamente espantoso. Espantoso.
Like
it's
a tongue twister,
yeah. And it means horribly horrible. So she said this with her friend when she was out running, who I guess is Spanish or speaks Spanish, or a native speaker. And he said, "Te refieres a mí? You're talking about me?" She's like, no. But he laughed. So once again, real Spanish, real life, laughter and enjoyment. So
yes,
wonderful.
That's what we want to share.
Thank you, Sally Ann and Janet and everyone else who leaves us comments. The more the better. We love these. Okay, before we get to the real Spanish phrases, right, another quick story about how to get really fluent faster, right?
Yeah.
So this is really important. And then we'll get to the real Spanish phrases. The nurse,
Yes.
a friend, a student of ours, who's a nurse in the States, she wrote, what did she tell us, Marina?
She told us that she was very frustrated because at work she had to speak to Spanish-speaking people and her colleagues were speaking in Spanish and she didn't dare to put her Spanish out into the open. And
one phrase kept popping up into her head every time she saw one of her colleagues speaking Spanish, which was,
I could have said that.
I could have said that.
I could have said that. Yeah.
Why aren't I saying these things? What he just said or she just said, I could have said that. Huge frustration.
Yeah.
Right, so she said, what can I do? And Marina had some great first advice.
Yes, my advice was that at this point it's much more painful not to speak than making a mistake. So please do whatever you can to get your Spanish out. Yeah.
To make mistakes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's all sorts of advice we can give here. Like, you only live once, you might as well get that Spanish out. You've been learning it so long. I could have said that. Say it. Go and say it.
In the end, it's a confidence problem because we don't want to make mistakes. We all feel bad when we make mistakes. But for me, the approach is, and this is when my English took off. It's when you are not afraid of making mistakes, because mistakes are great learning opportunities. Every mistake gives us an opportunity to learn something. So if we take these mistakes, como diríamos en español, al vuelo,
on the fly, as we go along,
and we ask for a correction, or we try to find the correct version in the internet, or we ask someone when we know we've made a mistake and learn the correct version, then we've made the most out of that mistake. And then the pain will disappear because we've made the most of that mistake.
Y nos hemos lanzado. We've put ourselves out there, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a virtuous circle, okay? You're first of all, there's the vicious circle where you're terrified of making mistakes, so your fluency is going nowhere. And then you start saying, okay, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to just say whatever comes out. I'm going to make mistakes. What happens? You communicate with somebody and, this sort of flywheel started turning. You make mistakes, doesn't matter. Maybe they correct you, maybe they don't, but you've had a conversation. Your confidence goes up a little bit. Next time you go, I'm going to try again. You try again. More confidence, more fluency, more confidence, more fluency. You've got to be prepared to make mistakes. I'm very shy. In my first 9 months in Madrid, I didn't shut up. I just made as many mistakes as I had to make, but I wanted to talk to people. And I did. And so my fluency just it amazed me. I'd spent 14 years learning French previously, and in 9 months I was more fluent in Spanish. All right, I was living here at that point, but it was mostly, more than anything else, because I was prepared just to have a go and make mistakes. So our instructions, Marina, what are they? And then we're going to get to the real Spanish phrases connected to this.
Yes. Please go out into your Spanish world in writing, speaking, whatever format you want, and make 1,000 mistakes.
Yep, that is our instructions to you. Go and make 1,000 mistakes. People will correct you whether you ask them to or not, because they can't help it, right? Number one. Number two, just like with the telephone, when you're typing, there's a kind of autocorrect function up here that starts to work as well. You start going, that wasn't quite right. And then you go and check it later, next time you say it right. Or you realize immediately and you say it again correctly and you don't get it wrong the next time, okay? You got to make mistakes.
Just remember, if you make a mistake, here at Notes in Spanish, we love mistakes.
We love mistakes, yeah. That's one of our, there we go, new mantra. We love mistakes. There we go, because they are great learning opportunities. Yeah?
Yeah, perfect.
So, first thing is you have to leave a comment to us with a little bit of real Spanish saying, I'm up for it. How would you say that in Spanish, Marina?
Me apunto.
Me apunto.
¿Dónde firmo?
¿Dónde firmo? Yeah, I'm up for it. This you could also use, because we're into the real Spanish bit now, right? Me apunto. You could also use, if you make me a nice offer for the weekend.
Vente, ¿vienes a la playa este fin de semana?
Am I going to the beach this weekend with you? Me apunto. Yeah. Or ¿dónde firmo?
No, yo no me lo pienso dos veces, ven.
No me lo pienso dos veces. I'm not even going to have to think twice about that, yeah? Another good one?
Hombre, claro que sí.
Okay. Pause, time out. Hombre, okay? You don't get more real Spanish than hombre, right? Do you know how many years it took me, okay, all my talk about confidence earlier, yeah, I was prepared to make a million mistakes, but I'm ashamed to say that I waited about 21 years in this country before I started feeling confident using hombre correctly.
In the way Spanish people use it. Yeah.
I thought you've got to be born, I don't know, in Cuenta or somewhere like that, you know, to say hombre.
But Americans say man.
Man, it's true. It's just like that. And hombre in Spanish, you can say it to a man, you can say it to a woman. That doesn't matter, right? But it's so wonderfully Spanish. Hombre, claro que sí. You know, you haven't seen anyone for ages. Hombre, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cuánto tiempo? So yeah, be a better Spanish speaker than me, start using hombre today. Right. So, hombre, claro que sí. Cuenta conmigo. It's the last one, no?
Yeah.
So lots of ways of saying, I'm up for it. Yes, definitely. We've got dónde, firmo, cuenta conmigo. ¿Qué más había? Yo creo que ya, no. Hang on a
No me
minute.
lo pienso dos veces.
Me apunto. All of these are wonderful. They're all listed under this video, so you can get hold of them, remember them. So, our task for you is to write in the comments, me apunto a hacer 1000 errores.
A cometer 1000
A
errores.
cometer 1000 errores.
Y
And-
si queréis compartir con nosotros alguna historia real de cuando habéis hecho algún error divertido, pues estaremos encantados de escucharlo.
Yeah, so quick translation, in case you didn't get it, I'm sure most of you did. If you'd like to also leave a comment about an error you made once that helped you learn or that led to an amusing situation, we would absolutely love to hear that as well. So, ya está, ¿no? Subscribe to our newsletter. Big news, we've got our Real Spanish workshop coming up soon, which is a special deep dive into fluency and how to get there faster. Make sure you don't miss that, so make sure you're signed up to our newsletter. Link underneath for that. Leave us a comment and we will be back soon.
See you soon.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.